care. If you're over 40, now is the time to get checked. Early detection matters. Appointments are limited. Schedule your Lifeline screening today at lifelinescreening.com. That's lifelinescreening.com. Don't wait until it's too late.
There's this thing repair people do nowadays.
Mappo's Plumbing. Sure, we do have a dispatch fee. It's $1 zillion.
A dispatch fee, a trip charge, going out to your house bill.
Bippity Bing Bong Electrical. Our trip charge is a nice new car.
But not Apex Pros, the pros who knows. When you call Apex for repairs on your AC, plumbing, or electric, there's no dispatch fee.
Thank you for calling Apex Pros. Why would we? Kinda silly to ask for money before we do anything, isn't it?
We give you an upfront price only after we know what's really going on. We think it's the right thing to do, instead of
Slappy's AC, electric, plumbing, dry cleaning, haberdashery, and chiropractic. Of course we charge to come out. $1 kajillion, 3 diamond rings, and 2 exotic pets.
Apex Pros. Never a dispatch fee. Examples of competitive rates may have been slightly exaggerated.
Columbus loves Apex Pros. The pros who knows. ApexPros.com.
Portions of the following program were pre-recorded.
News Radio 610 WTVN Columbus. WOTC HD2 Asheville. An iHeart radio station guaranteed human.
From ABC News, I'm Mike Tabusky. Iran is condemning the latest U.S. strikes, with a foreign ministry statement saying the attacks are an explicit violation of the Memorandum of Understanding between the two countries. More from ABC News senior White House correspondent Selena Wang.
The U.S. attacked Iran with strikes on missile and drone storage locations. The U.S. military says this was in retaliation to Iran firing on a cargo ship trying to cross the Strait of Hormuz just 24 hours earlier. President Trump called that attack a foolish violation of our ceasefire agreement. He claims Iran shot at least 4 attack drones at ships in the Strait, with one of them hitting the upper deck of a large cargo ship and the U.S. knocking the other 3 down.
Meanwhile, there's a new effort to draw down the violence between Israel and Lebanon. Yesterday, the U.S. announced a framework agreement that Lebanese officials say will help restore their sovereignty and territorial integrity. Yakil Leiter, the Israeli ambassador to the United States, spoke to reporters in Washington.
This will be a staged and performance-based move forward to the degree that Lebanese army performs in dismantling and disarming Hezbollah.
Hezbollah leaders are rejecting the agreement and saying they will hold on to their weapons. Recovery and relief efforts continue in Venezuela, which is still digging out from this week's powerful back-to-back earthquakes.
The U.S. government launching 3 urban search and rescue teams, including one from Fairfax, Virginia, to join the mission. The British military sending 250 firefighters and 6 dogs trained to find survivors. 8 agencies consider the first 48 to 72 hours critical for rescuing people alive, although that increases if they have access to food and water. Michelle Franzen, ABC News, New York.
And the Cottonwood fire in Utah has now burned through more than 70,000 acres and is 0% contained. You're listening to ABC News.
Hot summer days and high
Governor DeWine is responding to the termination of temporary protected status.
It is now illegal to employ Haitian and Syrian immigrants in the state of Ohio. That was the crux of the statement released by Governor Mike DeWine after the U.S. Supreme Court sided with the Trump administration Thursday, attempting to end the protected status of those individuals, many of whom had been living in the country for nearly 2 decades. While DeWine feels that this is a mistake to remove these people from the United States, he also says he must follow the law. Over 10,000 Haitian immigrants living in Springfield, Ohio, are now subject to immediate deportation. I'm Rick Ucino.
A man in Butler County is being indicted in a woman's death back in June. Hamilton police responded to a home on Race Street after receiving reports that a woman had hung herself. Officers later determined that the woman's boyfriend, 37-year-old Raphael Francis, had killed her. He now faces charges including murder and strangulation. Veterans and the unhoused will, in a little over a year, have a place in Lorraine where they can get an apartment. Groundbreaking was Thursday for Broadway Commons. Kevin Nowak of CHN Housing Partners says it will be a 62-unit apartment building totally for veterans as well as people at risk of homelessness.
Oftentimes, when we think about homelessness, we end up missing the fact that these are people's parents, their brothers or sisters, their cousins, their uncles, their friends, and this really helps people to become housing stable.
Broadway Commons in Lorain is being made possible by various county, state, and federal agencies, plus banks and charitable foundations. Plans are to have people move in by fall of next year. The Ottawa Park Concert Series continues tonight in Toledo. Free shows happen every Saturday night at the Park's Amphitheater through August. Tonight's show features a performance from the Beatles cover band, Hey Jude. I'm Andy Betts.
Your latest news, traffic, and weather.
If you're not informed, then you're out of the loop.
All you have to do is ask.
Play 610 WTVN on iHeartRadio.
From the Chess Round Chevrolet GMC on Route 23 in Delaware Traffic Center.
Please be advised, you may want to stop eating the following foods immediately. Broccoli,
I'm
kale,
here.
blueberries,
Our question is, are
quinoa,
you there?
spinach. I thought those were good for me. What's healthy for one person may cause inflammation for another. So how do you know what your body actually needs? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple, at-home gut health test that analyzes your real-time biology to give you personalized nutrition guidance and custom supplements. Learn more at viome.com/gut.
Yep.
V
Just
as in
tell me.
Victor,
Why don't you just yell when you're gonna go
IOME.com/GUT.
out,
And use
just so I
coupon
know I
code
won't upstairs.
GUTHEALTH50 to save $50 off your purchase.
They track. They target. Prices can climb.
All right. Yeah,
Startpage
should be
is the
standard.
private
There's
search
nothing
engine that
crazy
helps keep what
today,
you look
so-
up online from becoming a price tag. Try Startpage at
30 seconds.
startpage.com.
30 seconds.
That's startpage.com.
APCO is ranked the busiest remodeler in Columbus by Business First. Why? We simply give you our best price and let you sleep on it. APCO siding, APCO windows, APCO decks.
Absolutely, absolutely. You can trust APCO.
APCO.com.
See an accident? Let us know at the Curtis & Associates Traffic Tip Line at 821-1111. Curtis & Associates. Trust and experience of attorneys who care.
You know, this industry is downright exhausting. Really, seriously. I always dread skipping a week because there is so much that goes on in just a week. And if it's not some craziness in the store, some craziness on the streets, or in the liberal cities, or in the courts, it's truly never, ever ending. So this week, let's see. The Supreme Court came out with another huge gun ruling. We're going to get to that soon. It basically slapped the anti-gun crowd like the idiots they are. And then there is all kinds of stuff going on the banning of Glocks. Get that, banning of Glocks in states because these far-out politicians are too scared to enforce the laws that are already in place because, let's be honest, it would put too many of their voting base behind bars. So they just decide to throw whatever crap they can up against the wall and see if it will stick. Speaking of not sticking, Virginia, their AR ban, well, it's on hold. It didn't stick so far. Let's hope that one goes away sometime soon. The National Shooting Sports Foundation, one of the leading advocates for retail stores, they went on the offensive this week, calling out donors to the anti-gun crowd and the media, who's oftentimes guilty by omission. All this week alone. And did I mention the Ohio Stolen Gun Database, by which all means should be called the LEPD Stolen Gun Database because we were the ones who put it together and got it up and running. Well, the Stolen Gun Database, well, we caught one this week. We caught one trying to be sold to us, and we run it through, and look at that, it was stolen. Thank you, LEPD, for putting that together. Guys, all this happened just this week. This and much, much more is coming up on OnTarget.
Live from LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is On Target, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is On Target. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Good afternoon, welcome to On Target. We're broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, located at 999 Bethel Road. I was thinking, guys, it hasn't been, I gotta think, it hasn't been since World War XI that our nation, that we've seen this much Ed, that's what it says right there.
Yeah, Elon Omar would agree with you.
Yes. You know what? How do, I was thinking this week as all these I even hate to say left. They're left of left. People keep winning these primaries and stuff. And I look and I'm thinking the only thing stupider than these people are the people voting them in. Yeah. How do we vote someone in the place who stands up there in front of everyone and says, well, it's not since World War XI did this happen?
I don't get it either. I've asked that question many times with Elon and the AOC, the rest of them, the group, I can't even what they call them now. But yeah, it's ridiculous. How do the people get elected in there? Well, the idiots that they are, they're idiot people vote them in.
We're not intelligent.
And now it's getting even worse. Now we're voting communists in.
And it's okay. And it's not. It used to be silent. They used to not say anything.
Well, I can remember. I watched a movie. It took place back in the 50s, I believe. And if you were an outspoken communist, you were imprisoned.
Right. And for a long time, people could suspect somebody. I think they have communist views. Now you just say it.
Yeah.
You just say it.
Well, now you get elected.
And you put it right on your chest. You put the tattoo on your chest and everything. Look at me. Craziness. Guys, we are the owners of LEPD Firearms Range and Training Facility and are active in law enforcement. But for 1 hour on Saturdays, we put together a group of firearm experts to discuss new products in the market, training tips, and oftentimes political topics surrounding the Second Amendment. Our commitment, though, has always been to bring you facts about our industry and help customers and listeners with safe, responsible ownership of firearms. Joining me today in the LEPD studio on the live Schiff and Associates hotline, that is JC. Are you there, JC?
I am here. We seem to be breaking up a little bit, but for the most part, I can hear you. Hopefully you can hear me.
That's because you're so far north in left land.
Well, yeah, it seems to be a leftist community that I'm in, but we're holding up. I'm doing some conversions up here, so that's my mission. So I'm a Second Amendment missionary. so there you go.
One at a time, JC. One at a time.
Yes, one at a time.
From his tuna trip, Big Ed sits to my right. So did you put it in the fridge here for me?
What?
My tuna.
We didn't get any tuna. We didn't even see any tuna. We heard that there was tuna. We tuned a piano, but we didn't see any tuna.
Ed, you can pretty much go to Kroger's and get like a self-tuna anytime.
You know what? Going to the grocery store and buying it is nothing like catching one, but I can't even compare that because I didn't catch one. No, it was a great trip. We had a good time with my brothers, a couple of nephews, and it was a fun time, even though we didn't catch any tuna. It was just bad. The tropical storm came through. I don't know if you were aware of that, but it just muddied up the waters, and they said that's what did it. So
it's the trip sometimes that's the most memorable part.
It's unfortunate, but we still had a great time.
Yep. Guys, I need to thank a good friend of mine, Marshall, for jumping on with this last week. We always learn a lot from each other anytime we talk or he jumps on with us, and it was great to have him on, so I wanted to thank him for that. And there was so much more I wanted to get to. We'll have to have him back sometime. I also wanted to give a shout-out to our friend Luis. Of course, he's been here for a number of years, but from Venezuela. He was sending me all kinds of videos this week. And,
is he back in Venezuela?
No, but his family's there. His family is okay, but he says he has so many friends and family there.
They had a bad earthquake.
There's literally thousands dead, and it's not everything is built as structurally sound as it is here, and so it was pretty devastating. So keep those guys in your thoughts and prayers. We're going to have JC in the news site coming up. JC, another action-packed week of news for the gun industry.
Oh, yeah, it is amazing. A lot of stuff is happening, and there's actually some big stories from last week that we didn't have time to get to, especially the one that kind of involves suppressors. So anyway, a lot of stuff going on.
Yep.
We only have an hour, JC.
That's all right. What else? We're going to get to a gun of the week, hopefully presented by River's Edge Cutlery here up shortly. And then at 12:30, Ed, if you carry 9mm for self-defense or have one for home protection, today's show is kind of a must-listen. Literally, there's thousands of choices out there for good defensive rounds, and being able to navigate which one is best for you is something that's kind of ominous at times. So it's been a while since we've talked about this, and so we're going to tackle that today a little bit. You're preparing for that life or death situation. You want to make sure you take any uncertainties out of the mix, and a good part of that is the ammunition. Yes. And so we'll talk about that, what might be right for your particular carry gun, and what's right for one is certainly not right for the other. And one thing you'll find, too, is that if you are adamant about carrying a specific round in your .45, it is not necessarily the one you want to carry in your 9. So all kinds of things to think about. We're going to get that at 12:30. We'd like to thank our sponsors, U.S. Law Shield, Jackson Egress Windows, Blackwing Shooting Center, trap and skeet season in full force up there. Talk to those guys this week. River's Edge Cutlery, and Schiff and Associates, good friends of law enforcement and, of course, LAPD. And, of course, LAPD Training Facility, all who make the show possible each week. If you missed the show, you can always catch the podcast. We actually have a lot of people out there, Ed, going and listening to the podcast and watching the YouTube feed and the Facebook feed each week. So I know sometimes people can't catch it live during the summertime months, but you can always go out there and miss or catch a past episode. And let's see what else. I think, JC, I think that's kicked over to you now.
Uh-oh.
All right. Well, as you referred to earlier, SCOTUS, the Supreme Court of the United States, just a couple of days ago, Thursday, handed down a major ruling in favor of gun rights in its decision striking down Hawaii's what they call the vampire gun control law. Vampire rule, what's that? I don't watch the vampire things, but apparently a vampire can't come into your house unless you invite them. And that's why this rule that Hawaii adopted was it required lawful gun owners, including licensed concealed carry holders, to get express permission before bringing their firearms onto any private property open to the public. We're talking grocery stores, shops, gas stations, restaurants, bowling alleys, any of those. You had to get express permission before you could enter those, or it was against the law. So the Supreme Court found the law was unconstitutionally broad restriction on the right to bear arms. And the quote Justice Samuel Alito wrote was, this regime, this regimen hobbles what the Second Amendment protects, which is the right of Americans to carry arms for self-defense as they go about their daily life. We hold that the law is unconstitutional. So what this does, it invalidates Hawaii's broadest gun carry restriction, which was the worst in the nation. And also combined with the gun-free zones imposed by the state, this made the majority of the state of Hawaii off limits to carry it all, even for their concealed carry license holders. So the importance of this is it also invalidates similar laws. California, Maryland, New Jersey, and New York. Once one state comes up with an anti-gun ruling, the other ones go, hey, let's do that. And they jumped on board what also invalidates their similar laws. And it also does another thing. It provides a further insight into the Supreme Court's view of the Second Amendment and how its gun law test, which kind of originates from the New York State Rifle and Pistol Station versus Bruin. That Bruin decision is so important, and how they may be applying it in the future. Now, it still has no direct impact on private businesses' ability to prohibit guns on the property if they post a sign informing the guests that, no guns allowed here. And that's the way it is in Ohio. If they post it, then no guns are law, but other than that, we can do it. But, yeah, that was a really, really big Second Amendment ruling. So we were really happy about that.
And it just has, like you said, ramifications throughout other states and cities throughout the country. So that's good. We need the Supreme Court to keep on that role of slapping down some of these just crazy laws they keep putting into place. What else you got there, JC?
Crazy. Yeah, well, this is a story from last week we didn't get to, but it does have some ramifications also. The Fifth Circuit panel. Fifth Circuit is like Texas and Arkansas and Louisiana, I think. Anyway, on the previous Thursday, on the 18th, a three-judge panel in the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals unanimously a conviction of someone named Brennan Kamas, but as conviction was for registered silencers. So Kamal argued that silencers are protected by the Second Amendment, so the National Firearms Act registration requirement is therefore unconstitutional. Well, the panel agreed on the first point, but not the second. So they upheld his conviction because he was making homemade silencers and of course unregistered. So they upheld the conviction. But what was important is what they wrote. So Judge Jerry E. Smith wrote for the majority, and it was United States versus Kamal. And the quote was, though silencers are Second Amendment arms, and because Kamal has not alleged that the National Firearms Act shall issue regimen was abusive, nor it burdens the Second Amendment rights, they confirm the conviction, but He wrote, silencers lead to reduced loudness, reduced risk of hearing loss, lower recoil from firearms, elimination of muzzle blast, increased accuracy, and faster follow-up shots. He wrote, those are all critical functions that make firearms safer and more effective for their core, lawful purpose of self-defense. And because firearms are used in self-defense to, and he goes back to the original definition back to the Founding Fathers, to cast at or strike another, they are Second Amendment arms. Additionally, he rejected the Department of Justice's contention that silencers aren't full arms because they can't be used as weapons on their own and they aren't necessary for a firearm to operate. But he wrote, the first Bruin explained that Second Amendment arms need not be necessary for a firearm's functioning, but instead must only facilitate armed self-defense. He wrote, and he goes, and second, the Supreme Court has cautioned lower courts against being trapped in amber approach that government attempts to use by limiting the definition of arms, which was not that limited when you go back when the Founding Fathers area, limiting to those devices required for malicious service of the Founding Fathers. He says silencers are arms. So what this does is really kind of elevate silencers as protected arms, creating a circuit split among other federal appeals courts. So this could draw, interest from the Supreme Court, and hopefully they can take this up and make a decision. But, it deals a setback, as I say, for the Department of Justice, which has argued that they aren't arms. But again, and civil rights activists who have said the regulations are unconstitutional. So anyway, we'll see where this leads, but that was a panel decision, and probably the next appeal will go up to the en bloc full. But hey, this is a step forward, and we really think that this is an important one.
Good. JC, did you see, of course, the Glock ban in California is coming up here on July 1st, but there's grumblings now that the Department of Defense, or whatever the department is that Trump put into place might be challenging that.
Yeah, that was under the civil rights, where we have a Second Amendment department now, and with an assistant AG running it, who is just boy, she's a tiger by the tail for our Second Amendment rights.
Hey,
so,
JC,
all the states, yeah.
Let's jump to a break real quick here, because I lost track of time until Ella said, hey, we need to take a break. So let's take a quick break, and when we come back on the other side, we'll continue this conversation about Glocks in California. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Farms Range. We'll be back after the short break.
Clean out your closet.
I started talking. See, that's why we need Ella.
Is that why?
That right there is why.
Well, we could just go without commercials.
She has that power.
I know. But she'll never give it to us.
She has occasionally.
Okay.
All right.
Oh. I didn't send you any of those pictures from when I was on my trip.
None.
We hooked into an alligator.
Seriously? What was that like?
It didn't last long.
Oh, really?
No. But
Big?
I got videos. Yeah, I got videos of that, and I got videos of right down the road from where we were staying. There's a canal. They hang out. There's just one piece. I guess people feed them, so they just hang out there all day long. I'll have to show you the picture.
Wow.
Of the video. It's cool. Well, I say we hooked into it. I should say my brother hooked into an alligator.
How would you keep that on? I mean, you'd think that they could shake it off.
Well, we knew it was going to break the line. But
it broke the line.
Here we go, 5 seconds.
Yep. Your ABC 6 first warning weather for today. Scattered showers likely, mostly cloudy skies, high of 80. For tonight, few showers are early on, mostly cloudy skies, later on low of 66. Sunday, sun and clouds, stray pop-up storms are possible, high of 85. From Monday, it's darn right hot. 91 is going to be your top degree there. It's currently 76 degrees on your severe weather station on the News Radio 610 WTVN.
Number 1 for news, traffic, weather, and talk. News Radio 610 WTVN.
Take a look at my girlfriend. She's the only one I got. Not much of a girlfriend, but never seemed to get along.
This is your era, Ed.
Yeah.
Take a jumbo across the water. Like to see America.
That's when music was fun.
Yeah. Welcome back to On Target. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios. I got Big Ed to my right. I got JC on the Schiff and Associates hotline. JC, so continue that conversation about the Glocks in California.
Well, California was the first state to ban Glocks based on the fact that criminals can get illegal switches and that can convert them into full automatic, like machine pistols. Pull the trigger once and it keeps on firing. So they decided to ban the entire firearm. I mean, these have been out since 1982. But now Gavin Newsom decided that this is what we should do. So after he banned it, other states have now, several states, Democratic states, have jumped on saying, yeah, this is what we're going to do. We're going to ban Glocks from sales. So anyway, as we talked about, the Department of Justice, under my favorite assistant AG, Maheen Delan, and I mean, she is just absolutely, really, like I said, she's a pit bull for doing her job with the civil rights branch of the DOJ. So, bottom line is, she's saying it's just unconstitutional. This is a firearm that has been out since '82, and the fact that criminals are doing it, instead of going after criminals, putting stiff sentences on them, they said that we will sue you for what you're doing. It's unconstitutional. So this is really a big deal. Of course, California. If anyone expected them to roll over and go, okay, yeah, you're right, we're not. So it's going to end up being a fight. So we're going to see where this leads. But, this is going to go to effect on July 1st as a Glock ban. And what that does, it prohibits licensed firearms dealers from selling or transferring any of these. They've actually reclassified Glocks in California specifically as machine gun convertible pistols. That is what they have officially named Glocks. Of course, this Cruciate operating a system that they have for the trigger, it's in other guns besides Glocks, and as anyone who's a gunsmith or reads anything about it, it takes some work, but you can convert a lot of things to full automatic by remachining, doing things to control the block of the pistol. So when you pull the trigger, the sear's just held down and the gun continues to fire. But they've chosen Glocks, so this is where we are right now. So
what about the
we will see.
What about the people who own guns, Glocks now? They have to get rid of them?
Well, not right now. But this is the first step. The journey takes a lot of steps, and that once they get this done, then they're going to go, okay, well, gee, since they are convertible, what we should do is ban the ownership. I mean, it just seems, I don't know that for a fact, but that just is the way the progression is for the Democrats.
John, how about
the law-abiding citizens, not the criminals?
I mean, have they ever thought about maybe enforcing the federal law that says thou shalt not make your own fully automatic weapon? I mean, has that been a consideration? Is it a topic?
Well, that doesn't take the guns away from law-abiding citizens, and let's face it, that is what the Democrats want. Yeah, they're going after, we talk about this all the time on the air, and you and I, with the FBI, was it 2 years ago, that only 880 rifles of any sort were used in homicides in the United States of America. 880. But they want to go after these because of what they look like, and they're not used that often. I mean, 880, that's a lot, but out of 350 million people or whatever we have now with the illegal aliens, that's not the point. Once they get rid of those, then they'll sit back and go, wait a minute, then what are being used? What? Semi-automatic pistols will be the next step. So it's just one chunk at a time, and this... We were amazed, you and I, Eric, when we found that locally, less than a year ago, I think it was at a football game, where juveniles at a local game out just outside of Columbus were caught with Glocks with switches. They weren't old enough to buy firearms, yet they had those. But what we found out is the federal government does not prosecute minors. So unless you're 21 years old, they weren't even prosecuting those. And these gangs that can buy these switches, they're most of them made in China, but they can be produced pretty easily. and can convert the Glocks into full automatics. What are they doing with them? Nothing. Sending them home to the moms and dads, taking the guns. And this is the issue. But it's the criminals, not the firearm that has been out there since 1982.
Absolutely. JC, before we go into the bottom of the hour break here, I do have a kind of a gun of the week brought to you by our good friends over at River's Edge Cutlery. This one's kind of unique. It walked in the door this week. It is a used firearm, but it is a Springfield Prodigy. Have you held one of these, JC?
No, I have not. I've read about them, but I have not held one.
This one is absolutely I mean, it looks, if you didn't tell me it was used, I would assume it was new. That's how good it looks. It's their competition model, and it is definitely, if you're in the neighborhood and you've been in the market for one of these kind of 2011 styles, it's definitely one to come take a look at because it is that beautiful. It has the magwell extension at the bottom and the serrations on the front and compensated and all kinds of good stuff. Ed, I could almost even see you in that.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No, it's too big.
It is kind of big. I mean, it's kind of big, but
it looks like a duty gun.
It is. It's like a competition gun.
It's a nice looking gun, but I'm not a big Springfield fan, but it's a nice looking gun. Mm-hmm. You almost touched it. I was getting ready.
I know. The Prodigies are certainly popular amongst them and stuff. So, guys, let's jump to the bottom of the hour news on the other side. We're going to talk about 9mm defensive ammo, something we should all take a listen to because there's so many choices out there, and it's definitely something that we need to consider.
Why is the 9mm so popular?
Well, Ed, we can talk about that. We're on Target Broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms Range. We'll be back after the break.
Stack up sweets.
What's Mr. Bachman doing? It's Mr. Bachman's rape whistle going off. It's his rape whistle. That's those noisemakers.
It's a 911 call.
You got to put the pin back in it. I thought someone was trying to take him.
It's good to test it every now and then.
Lori, leave him alone. Leave him alone, Lori. We're calling 911. You're attacking him.
And you know they won't.
Yeah, sometimes she comes and goes in. I'm going to turn your mic back on there. Don't say anything bad about...
I didn't know you had me off.
Well, I just did.
See, my brother's checking in. Steve Michael Johnson's checking in. Melissa Atkinson, hello.
Oh, Melissa's on there?
Yeah.
Hey, Melissa.
Russell.
I think it was her birthday the other day, if I'm thinking correctly.
I think I saw something like that as well. You're right.
Mm-hmm.
Cynthia. She's on as usual. Good to see you.
She doesn't seem to be as obsessed with you anymore, Ed.
She was never obsessed with me.
Are you broken up?
She's just a nice lady. Don't start rumors.
You were her big, and she was your big fan. And she was like when we had you on probation. She was like your big cheerleader. Like, take him off probation.
She stopped all that because I wasn't talking on Facebook a lot. She thought I was abusing everybody.
Probably so. Hey, you do have a nice tan.
I do. It's kind of fading away now.
Mm-hmm.
Rich Nuttall, how are you doing today, sir?
Richie's on there?
Yes, sir.
You know what?
30 seconds.
You know what? That's good he's on there because he was on my list.
Oh, yeah? What, your S list?
You maybe. He never calls. He never writes. Half the time, it's just like a quick, "Hey, buddy."
Well, he's listening. He doesn't have to acknowledge you every time.
Hopefully, this time he's not listening in his bed with us on the big screen TV. That was awkward last time.
We are back in 5 seconds.
Here we go.
That's a vision we don't need.
From LAPD Firearms Range and Training Facility, this is OnTarget, the latest from the firearms industry, the products and politics that affect your hobby and liberty. This program may not be politically correct, but it is OnTarget. Now, your host, Eric Delbert.
Welcome back to OnTarget. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios. We got JC on the Schiff and Associates hotline. I got Big Ed shoulder to shoulder with me, and of course, the live studio audience. Not as big as some weeks, Ed, but nonetheless loud.
We got the regulars that are consistently here.
That is right. That is right. Guys, you spent hours researching the right firearm for personal protection. You talk to your friends, maybe you watched 50 videos, and you come to think you know Hickok 45 personally because you watched so much of his videos. And then you come LAPD, you rent your top three, right? You go up there, Ed, you rent your top 3 9s, you pick the perfect holster. That's almost like a tongue twister.
Wow.
You pick the perfect holster. And, of course, you purchase extra mags and all these things to go along with it. And then it comes time to buy your rounds, Ed. And you're looking at, I spent some money here. And you say,
the cheapest round.
100%. Give me the cheapest hollow point you got.
Yeah. Or just give me some wad cutters.
Or there you go. Today we're going to talk a little bit about why you need to pay attention to that carry ammunition. And especially ones that you're going to depend on for your life. This is, you've gone this far, you've chosen to carry a gun or have it for protection. You should be making sure that you take everything out of the mix that you have control over, and ammunition is a huge part of that. So we wanted to go through, and one of the things, JC, and I can't even believe we have to say it, but it's still, we still have people coming in the store talking about this, but at the very least, you need to carry hollow points. And the reason for that, JC, why would you have to carry hollow points?
Well, the penetration of a 9mm, we did testing back when I was doing some training, and actually it was for the Delaware Police Department. They were finding that some of their hollow points weren't opening up. But if it doesn't open up, we fired 9mm standard 115 grain, which is the standard weight, that were not hollow points, and we were penetrating over 4 inches of 3/4-inch cabinet grade plywood. It just penetrates too much. It'll go right through your house, and that was the issue that they were having. They had a gun raid. The officers were firing because the gunfight broke out, and the rounds went entirely through the entire house and out the back. And that's way too much penetration. And in World War II, Germans would kind of line up 4 people in a row, push them tight together, shoot them with one bullet, and it would go through everyone. It just doesn't stop. It's amazing.
And when you look, JC, at a defensive round and stuff, the goal here, and it's morbid at times, but the goal is to stop the action of the bad guy, right? And so what you want to do is transfer as much energy as that round has into the bad guy to stop it. It's the knockdown power that we talk about sometimes. And when you look at a full metal jacket round that doesn't expand or really doesn't have anything to stop it, now if it hits bone or something like that, it can ricochet and everything else, but there is a higher propensity that could go through the target and hit a bystander. So
absolutely.
You really,
as we say in our classes, there's an attorney attached to every single bullet you fire. If it goes outside of your house, no matter what it hits, whatever, you are liable for every shot that goes astray. So it's really important.
So the equation becomes, what round is going to work best out of my gun? And when I say my gun, you look at, there's all different barrel lengths, Ed. We all have the short 9s that we carry. We all have the duty guns that are the 5-inch guns. And it makes a difference because there's a velocity factor that comes into play when you're looking at the longer barrels or the shorter barrels, a lack of velocity. And the goal of these hollow points is to penetrate any barriers. So, when you look at the FBI standards, it's going to penetrate some denim and a cotton shirt and all of this. Is it still going to perform after all with that? And there's a lot of factors. If you have a short 9mm and you're carrying just a regular hollow point that's not meant maybe for maximum penetration, there's a good chance it's going to get hung up because the velocity isn't good enough to penetrate through those layers of clothes.
True. And then you also have to worry about the jam factor. Some of the ammunition out there doesn't feed through a gun very well.
Right, so you need to try it. So, JC, when you start looking at 9mm, there's all kinds of considerations. So you're looking at the barrel length of your gun. But even when you start to look at the hollow points within that category, you get into different grain weights. And so it's a combination of all of that. Of course, the 115 grains is very popular for a full metal jacket, but there is some defensive rounds out there. But it goes up to 147 grain. JC, why would I want something that's 147 grain versus 115 on a defensive gun or defensive round?
Well, I mean, the weight matters, as we say. Like if it's a knitting needle, it'll go straight through you. If it's a bowling ball, it knocks you down. It's that kind of an attitude that the heavier bullet has more power as far as the weight, but it has more penetration as well. So it's really a science with all of these companies that manufacture this. The FBI standard is still 12 to 18 inches of penetration. Too much, it can go through you, but 18 inches, if you get a side shot, that's about 18 inches wide is about what the body is in general, and they want it to stay in there. But the heavier weight can go penetrate more depending on the velocity. Where if it's too light, it doesn't pass that test. And there's a lot of defensive ammo out there in the 115 grain weight that just barely meets those standards. And so, but ammunition and how they design the hollow points, it's a art, and it is amazing, and it changes all the time. So you want something to go in and open up like an umbrella and stop and stay there and transfer all of that energy like a big shock wave. I mean, let's face it, we're about 76, body's about 76% body of water. So you take a bowl of water and you stick your finger in it and press it down, what happens? Probably nothing. You open up your hand and slap it, and you can see what that force does. And you want to provide shock to all the organs, blood vessels, and stop, buddy. So this is what you want. You don't want it to go through and carry all that energy with it. You want it to go in and slap it like your hand on the table, and that is what you're looking for. And you're looking for, as Ed pointed out, I mean, it's like reliability. It's got to work through your gun. Yes, it's expensive, but how much is your life worth? How much is the trip to a hospital worth? I mean, it costs a lot, and you need to test different things, make sure it functions through your gun, and there's so much research out there. One of my favorite ones, it's older now, it's about 10 years old, but Lucky Gunners, that's the name of it. If you look up Lucky Gunner ballistic test, they went back, tested thousands of rounds of all the different calibers. And you get to see the rounds, you get to see the expansion. They measure everything from the velocity to the penetration in tenths of inches, and it gives you an idea of that some work and some don't. But just recently, Gun Test Magazine 6 weeks ago just did a test on 9mm defensive ammo. And they only released what was an A. So they rated A through F, and they only gave the A's. And two of them, one was specifically for short barrel guns, got an A+. So you need to research what's going to work for you. What are you carrying? As you said, Eric, the longer barrels, it carries more energy because the powder burns for a longer period of time. You get more velocity, and more velocity helps with the expansion. You and I tested some 45s. I know we're not talking 9mm, and we found out that these expensive, over $1 a piece, 45 hollow points that we were using in our Glock 30s, which is a short-barreled 45, they didn't open up at all. You called the company right away, and they just said, "Oh yeah, we know that. Yeah, you should be using extra power, the plus B loads." We were shocked. No one tells you that. So you got to research. You got to look at what people are testing. It's your life, and you really, really need to know that it functions through your gun, and it's what you're looking for.
So JC, talk about what is the rule of thumb for every inch of barrel length? How much do you gain?
And rifles, that usually was like 35 to 40 feet per second. I mean, it can vary so much. You can get a really fast-burning powder that will make a real big difference on a short-barreled gun. Like in the 45 ACP when it very first came out, they used 5.5 grains of bullseye, fast-burning powder. If it's loaded with a different powder made for longer bullets, it doesn't burn. It comes out of the end of your gun in a big gun flash. It's so what you want to look at is, here's the gun I'm carrying, here's the barrel length, what is the best for what I'm carrying? What will do the penetration? What will open up? And as I mentioned, I haven't really talked about this yet, but there are companies that are making low flash, because 80% of all gun activity is at night. Criminals don't usually come up to you during the day, maybe 20% of the time, but 80% of the time this happens at night. And if you've ever fired a gun at night, and I suggest you go to a range outdoor range or something that will let you do that, and you will be amazed at what that gun flash does to your follow-up shots, because it will just blind you. So low flash ammo and there are several companies that specialize, and all their defensive rounds have low flash ammo in it, and that's really important for follow-up shots. Just really briefly, we had a range where we could do this indoors, and we had people fire 5 shots, sitting there holding it like you're aiming at a target, and everything was great. We said, reload, go back to that position. We turned the lights off. And believe it or not, several of the people, after the first round was usually on the target, the rest of them weren't even on the target for about half of the folks, because you couldn't see anything but a big dot in your eyes. That's what muzzle flash will do. So low flash powders, for me, are essential, and they're out there. A lot of the companies will have that. Make sure that what you're using and carrying will do that. The nice thing was, in this test, the gun test did, they only had 2 that had a A+ rating, and the one low flash is a pretty common one, and they just said that was their pick overall for 9mm carry, because most 9mm carries are short barrel.
Yeah, and JC, so sometimes too for the short barrel, I know I found from my personal one, I carry a 9 off duty that's pretty darn short barrel, that you can look at plus P ammunition. And so what that does is it increases the velocity oftentimes out of those shorter barrels to get you to a point where it's going to expand good.
Yes, absolutely. And that's what they recommended in our different caliber, the 45 ACP for that Glock 30. The company said, oh yeah, you should use plus P. Plus P is extra pressure, that they have powers of extra pressure. And this is all controlled, by the ammunition manufacturers, the small arms ammunition manufacturing companies that are joined in that. So all the ammunition that's out there is tested. So if it's plus P for one, it may be a little different velocity, but if your gun is rated for plus P, it will function. All the plus P ammo will function in that. Then there's a plus P plus, which was not recommended. It's got extra pressure and then extra pressure, and that could be damaging to your gun, and certainly have a lot of extra recoil.
And I don't know if any manufacturer says that's okay, even though we have some boxes here. I think some of the duty guns allow it, but it's certainly something you wouldn't want to put a steady diet through. But the plus P, you are going to feel a little bit more recoil, but certainly it can make the difference in having that open up successfully. And JC, you mentioned Lucky Gunner. One of the things too, and I just looked at that study last night, and it's just on luckygunner.com. If you type in ammo ballistic, I think test, there's tons of them out there. And one of the things they measure too is the weight of the bullet before and after the penetration. And Ed, the ones we have here, if you look at those, those mushroomed like you would. It looks like a flower.
Yeah.
And if you were to weigh those, it weighs pretty darn close to the initial weight of that bullet.
So for the neophytes out there and the people who may not know, when we talk about 124 grain or 147 grain, we're not talking about the amount of powder in the bullet.
Great point.
It's the weight of the lead coming out of the shell casing.
Right, it's weight of it. And oftentimes when you look at these hollow points, every manufacturer has a little bit of a different take on it. Hornady is known for having like that red tip to it, which is intended to get through those initial barriers and then open up, because one of the issues that could occur is if that hollow point doesn't have anything in there, it could get clogged up. And we saw that, JC, even when we were doing stuff here, is that it can get clogged up, therefore becoming more like a full metal jacket,
right.
And going through an entire target rather than expanding like you would expect.
Well, that's what happened with Delaware. They had original. So this was a long time ago. They've totally changed, but that ammo has now been totally redesigned. But what was happening? The police were firing. They didn't hit any studs, so it went through the vinyl siding. Then it went through the Tyvek and loaded itself up with drywall. and it didn't open up at all, so it acted like a full metal jacket, zipped through the house and out the back without opening at all. So, but now they have changed the design of that bullet, and it's one of the police standards now. But there are so many. This gun test had ones I'd never heard of before, and it just came out 6 weeks ago. So they tested the top, when they listed their top 10, but they had a whole bunch that were still A ratings. And I'll pass this along. Again, this is a gun test, but they said they've been testing ammo for 25 years. The ones that got the plus rating, which is really good, the Spear Gold Dot, the 124 grain plus P short barrel jacket of hollow point. Wow. So it says in the box, and it also has low flash powder. And the expansion of it was immense, and it retained all 124 grains at weighing.
Wow. And
they said that was probably all the testers said that was their overall pick. And that's what I hadn't heard of. Also, the number one that they listed was Winchester's USA Ready Defense, 124 grain, hex vent jacket. I never heard of this. It was plus load, low flash, and they just said that some of the bullets that were opening up to .76, so 9 millimeters, 0.355 inches, so a little over a third of an inch, and this opened up to over 3/4 of an inch.
Wow!
So that's huge. So there's some great stuff.
And we have a box of that sitting on our desk here, JC. JC, let's jump to a break, because on the other side, I want to get to two more topics on the 9mm defensive ammo in our remaining time. We're on Target, broadcasting live from the studios of LAPD Firearms and Range. We'll be back after the break.
Save big on landscaping projects at Menards. Transform your outdoor living space with easy, no-cut block projects. From fire pits and grill stations to planters and fountains. We offer hundreds of free project plans that are easy to build with no block cutting required. Check out our huge selection of concrete landscaping block at Menards. And view our weekly flyer on Menards.com for all the great deals happening now.
I don't know why.
Most people who suffer a stroke will completely fine the day before. Lifeline screening is in Columbus to test what you can't feel and what your doctor may not test for. We test for stroke risk, heart disease, cancer, and more. Fast, non-invasive screenings in about an hour at local community locations. Trusted by over 10 million Americans for more than 20 years. Reserve your Lifeline screening today at lifelinescreening.com. That's lifelinescreening.com.
Have questions about your financial future? Visit LegacyRetirementGroup.com.
For ABC 6 first morning weather today, scattered showers are likely, mostly cloudy skies later, high of 80. Tonight, few showers early on, mostly cloudy skies later in the day. Later in the night, actually, down to 66. Sunday, sun and clouds, a stray pop-up is likely. High of 85. Monday's going to be hot. It's going to get up to 91. Currently 75 degrees on your severe weather station, News Radio 610 WTVN.
News, traffic, weather, sports, and the talk that makes sense. News Radio 610 WTVN.
We're the talk that makes sense, Ed? Wow. Big shoes, they say.
I can't seem to face up to the fight.
Talking Heads?
I'm tense and nervous and I can't.
Welcome back to OnTarget. I'm your host, Eric, joined today in the LAPD studios. Big Ed, welcome back, Big Ed, off the ship, off the boat. Yeah, it would have been nice if you brought us something on
Trust me, I was hoping. I took a cooler. It was almost as big as the bed of my truck because I thought it was going to be full coming back.
Yeah, and we saw who the fool was.
Yeah.
On the Schiff and Associates hotline, we got JC and, of course, the live studio audience here. There they are.
And you're not supposed to laugh at that.
Guys, we are talking about 9mm for self-defense. One thing, JC, I want to bring up, and we always bring this up on the show. There is tons of rounds out there that we call boutique rounds. Oftentimes DRT, hence dead right there.
Yeah.
Liberty Civil Defense, although that has gained in some popularity. There's RIP. All these really
rest in peace. That was the other one.
Right. These are all really
not a good name.
Nasty looking rounds. If you're going to carry a gun, if you're going to have a gun for a home defense, doesn't it stand to reason that you put in that firearm what the professionals who are carrying a gun every day do? So, for instance, if I have to shoot somebody with DRT ammo and it goes to trial and it's going to, and you get up there and the defense or the prosecutor is going to say, sir, it looks like you were looking for a fight. You're carrying ammo dead right there. You were looking to kill that guy, right? Think of that defense.
That's bad. When prosecution uses that, it's RIP, which was rest in peace. The same thing. When they talk about that, so in our classes, they just mentioned, they said, hey, if you don't know what to say, I said, call your local sheriff's department. There's almost all of them are 9mm now. And ask, why is that? Well, number one, it's the most prolific ammunition out there in the entire world. Therefore, so much is manufactured, the prices are way down. That's how you look at the 380, which uses about the same diameter bullet, but the case is smaller, the powder load's smaller, and the bullet's smaller, yet it costs a lot more because they don't produce as much. So that's why 9mm become very popular. The recoil factor on it is much lower. It ups it a little bit when you use plus P, but not that much. But that's why they kind of dropped the 40 and went back to that. So call your local police department. Say, hey, what ammo do you carry or recommend? I know, doesn't Columbus Police have several different brands you can recommend for their officers off duty that you can carry? But
it's really just one basically now,
okay.
and a specific grain weight as well. But these other kind of boutique rounds, they're fun to go to the range with, or if you have a gel block, that's kind of cool to look at it. But it's nothing that I would carry. I mean, the Liberty Defense is probably the closest thing that has some, decent properties to it. But they're extremely light and extremely fast and intended to break apart. I mean, oftentimes, I don't know what their 9mm. I think they have a box of it here. I mean, the grain weight on it is something like 60 grain or something to that, so you can kind of imagine how fast it's going to go. Stick with the name brands, and those are the ones that you would think of. I mean, the Hornady Critical Defense, you really can't go wrong with that product line. It's probably our number one selling ammo here. The Spear Gold Dot, always huge. The Hydra Shock is still out there. For me, the Federal HST, that is the one our department carries, the 124 grain plus Ps. The Winchester T-Series is still out there. Silver tips are still a decent choice out there.
Matter of fact, that was what they rated in their top 10, was a silver tip was of this recent test from 6 weeks ago.
And that's been around, JC, for years. I mean,
years and years and years.
Yeah, and something
I'm surprised they still made it.
Well, I mean, something too to keep in mind, just because a specific brand works best in your 45, it doesn't always transfer to the other calibers. You got to look specifically at your caliber. The last thing, JC, I wanted to talk about is bonded ammunition. There's a lot out there. All these manufacturers have a bonded line. It is one that is intended to stay together a little bit longer, so they can go through a car window and still maintain some of the properties. You have to ask yourself, though, as a civilian,
do I need that?
Exactly.
Right. And they made a big thing in this test. They said they delineated this is great for civilian use, and this is better for police that have to shoot through barriers and shoot through windshields, and this is what you... So make sure that what you're using doesn't over-penetrate for... When you do the research, you'll find that they say this is great. That's why I like that Spear Gold Dot, which I, just after reading this, said this is what I'm going to carry, make sure it functions through my gun, because it has low flash, and they said it's good for all general, especially for shorter barrels, and the expansion on it was immense. And but you don't need necessarily a lot of different scenarios than you do, and they use longer barreled guns, so they can get more velocity out of these heavyweight bullets. So, but yeah, if you need any advice, call your local sheriff department, police department, and say, hey, what do you guys carry? If you ever have to use it, and you're up on the stand, you can say, I don't know, I just carry with the Columbus Police Department or the Franklin County Sheriff's Department carry. I just, you're good with that. So,
yep. I think it all boils down to the people carry the 9mm because the gun carries so many rounds versus a 45, and they're not qualified to carry a 45.
Not qualified? Look at that.
I was being nice.
I know. Guys, wow, I can't, the time goes so quick, Ed, so quick.
It does.
Guys, thanks for spending the last hour with us, and next week, Ed, it's a birthday. It's a 250th birthday. You're not going to want to miss that.
Well, we won't be here.
Huh? Oh, we might be here.
I won't.
Oh, you might be, Ed.
I won't.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right.
Guys, have it.
Number 1 on your car radio preset.
You got
the new and improved iHeartRadio app. Save 610 WTVN Columbus on your presets. Free. Never sounded so good.
You've got to try the new TikTok diet.
Just ask Chat.
I just take blue-green algae.
Or you could trust your gut. When it comes to your health, how do you know what's right for you? That's where Viome comes in. Viome is a simple, at-home gut health test that analyzes your real-time biology to give you personalized nutrition guidance and custom supplements. Not trends, your biology. Learn more at Viome.com/know. V as in Victor, IOME.com/KNOW. And use coupon code VIOME50 to save $50 off your purchase.
Hi, it's Lita, your friend at Columbus Mobility Specialist. Life's full of challenges, especially if you're dealing with the physical one. We're all about making life easier for you, like new and used accessible vans, home stair lifts, and scooters designed to fit your lifestyle. We are a custom fabrication shop, and your independence is just a phone call away at 614-825-8996.
Oh, I am here.
Or visit columbusmobility.com.
All right, you ready?
Mobility Specialist. Solutions to make your life easier.
Identity theft can cost more than you think.
This is our OnTarget. This week we celebrate the birth of our country and the Gun of the Week is sponsored by Schiff and Associates. Tune in right here Saturday at noon or live from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road.
$1 million for stolen funds.
Tune in tomorrow at noon or live from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road.
Don't face the burden of
identity theft. Tune in today at noon or live from LAPD Studios on Bethel Road.
With LifeLock. Join now. Save up to 30% off.
Hey, Al, are you working next Saturday?
At LifeLock.com.
Oh, you are?
1-800-LifeLock.
All right, we're going to
LifeLock.com.
I thought
are you having trouble hearing?
Talent was
hearing
off.
loss can devastate the quality of your life. Now,
well, I think
there's an affordable fix for you or your loved one.
I'll bring it up
the best
in the next
hearing
meeting.
aids of 2026 by Forbes Health.
Are going
Audion
to
Hearing has the
pre-tape on
highest
Thursday.
quality hearing aids at the lowest prices, starting at just $98 a pair.
I actually like them better than my old
Have a good
$5,000
week.
hearing aids.
I could not believe how my hearing and life changed.